Hi and welcome to CUTV News. I'm Trisha.
And I'm Suri.
The first story that we have is the US government shutdown, which has been making headlines all over the world. Suri will be talking more about it.
Yeah, so basically what happens is the House and the Senate both have to vote on the government budget, and in case that they cannot agree on it, then they will have to pass a continuing resolution, which means that the old budget will still be in effect till the House and the Senate figure out what to do. Now, what happened this time is that the Republicans signed the continuing resolution, but with the condition that Obamacare will not go into effect for another year. The Democrats do not agree with this and were not ready to negotiate. Therefore, the government has now shut down. This affects national parks, museums, Environmental Protection Agency, NASA, etc. But yeah, Obamacare is still in effect as it is completely unrelated to all of this. And as of now, 800,000 people are out of work indefinitely. So yeah, this has been making headlines everywhere. So we just wanted to talk to someone who has been in America at this time to know if it really affects daily life. So this is Dave Riley. He's a PhD student studying Anglo-American relations, and he was in America for research purposes. So yeah, do you think it affected daily life, like to any great extent?
I think it's affected daily life for the people that are working for the federal government, and also for people that are using the facilities that are shut down. So, for instance, in my case, I was affected personally. I'm not a US citizen, obviously. So I was researching at the Richard Nixon Presidential Library, which, as you mentioned, is also a museum, part of the non-essential things have been shut down. So I lost 40% of my time that I pre-planned, spent a lot of money doing, and so I was quite heavily affected. Luckily, it was right at the end of my time there. Had it have happened a lot of time before, it would have had much bigger effects for me.
Yeah.
For other people, I just know the people that were working at the Nixon Library. They basically get furloughed, which means that they basically get sent home without pay, as you said, for an indefinite amount of time. So that is not a nice thing.
Yeah, and they did not even know like from much earlier either. It was all very sudden, right?
Well, yeah, it's like as you described, like House and Senate, so they can't decide on the budget. So they literally know at midnight. They knew midnight the night before. They then have to go in to work for 4 hours to go through what they call shutdown procedures, unpaid, and then they're off work indefinitely until they agree a budget. So they've all still got their bills to pay, they've still got everything going on, so it's not a good situation for those 800,000.
Yeah, okay. And it's making headlines like all over the world, like all across global media. So do you think how is the US media talking about this?
Well, it is quite interesting because obviously whilst over there I follow the news anyway, so I've got I was flicking between Fox News and CNN, and you almost get two sides of the story. So you watch Fox and they will call it, they were referring to it at one point anyway, at least, as the Obama shutdown. Okay, so then you turn over to CNN and you get much more people saying, well, this is ridiculous what the Republicans are doing in the House.
Yeah.
Also they have like a countdown. They had a countdown to shut down, and I was counting how long it shut down on the screen at all times, which I thought was a little bit insensitive to the people that are furloughed. They get to count down to when you ain't got a job, and then you count up, oh, this is how long I haven't had one. So yeah, it was quite interesting watching the news, which I was doing a lot because I was not busy.
Okay. And do you think this would affect students in any way, like what's happening there?
Not so much. The universities are still running. For a day-to-day American person, it probably doesn't affect you a great deal. It affects people that are working for the federal government and that use the federal government's facilities on a long-term, on a regular basis. So like businesses that are around, like large attractions. Talking about the news, there was lots of stories about businesses around the Statue of Liberty that were really struggling because everything's shut down, people aren't going.
So it makes no difference to people who are not working for the government, but makes all the difference to people who are working for the government?
I would say so, and people that are working for the government and that rely on them, day to day, if you were in America and you didn't know the government was shut down, you might not notice it, but I don't know, I wasn't there for that long enough to really make a comment on that.
Yeah, okay.
But day to day, wouldn't know, I don't think.
Yeah, so is it like is the US media always talking, like where they're always talking about it like it's a really big deal?
Yes, it's the main program on the news. Totally, there's nothing. If you watch the news, you might think there's nothing else going on other than government shutdown.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's lovely.
Okay.
Welsh Minister Leslie Griffiths was at Cardiff University Students' Union at the Society's Fair to launch her campaign, Respect. The campaign primarily focused to stop women's abuse. She collaborated with the women's officer at Cardiff Students' Union, Emma Carricker. Here's a video that you can have a look.
We are joined today on CUTV by Leslie Griffith, Minister at the Welsh Government. Hello.
Hello there.
So you are launching today a campaign about respect. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, we have, in my portfolio as Minister for Local Government in the Welsh Government, I have domestic abuse and sexual violence and ending violence against women in my portfolio. So this is one of the campaigns that we've launched, obviously to time with Freshers Week, and it's about respect. And it's great to hear that this campaign has gone down so well here in Cardiff.
What are the aims? What kinds of improvements and impact do you expect from this campaign?
Well, the aim is to raise awareness with young people about healthy relationships, both to women and men. You know, that it's really important that when you're starting your university life, obviously it's a really exciting time. You make new friendships, but the respect in relationships is really important.
If you had any advice to someone who is being abused, or who and how can they reach for help?
Well, if they look on the website, and there's lots of paraphernalia that's going along with this campaign, there's lots of helpline numbers on there that they can access. You know, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure you get the help that you deserve.
Why do you think is it important for students to get involved in this campaign?
Well, I think it's important at any age, but obviously, as I said, university, you know, you start a new chapter of your life. It's really important. You're making new friendships, making new relationships, that you understand about healthy relationships and you know where to go for help if unfortunately you are being abused.
We are now joined by Rhiannon, a US women's officer. So what is your role in this campaign?
So we've been working with the Welsh Government. They've also funded a similar campaign which we're launching next week, and we've kind of worked with each other and supported each other on our respective campaigns, and we're really pleased to see the Welsh Government using NUS research on sexual harassment facing women students in this campaign. We're really supportive of it. We've been talking about them with it for months now, so it's really exciting to see it happening and spreading across Wales. It's great.
Why do you think it's important for you to be here launching this new campaign?
Well, things like sexual harassment and violence against women are really prominent issues in the Women's Campaign in NUS Wales, and those kind of issues are really being talked about in students' unions, and there's some really great work going on at Cardiff Students' Union, has been for years now. The Women's Campaign is really strong, so we like to get out and talk to students' unions and kind of support them in the work that they do.
Why do you think this campaign is important for students, and why is it important to get involved in it?
I think it's really important for students because it's a really prevalent issue in women students' lives. Some of our research found that 68% of women students felt that they were sexually harassed, like verbally and physically sexually harassed during their time as a student. And there's kind of been a move over the last few years by NUS and students' unions to kind of like stamp that out and have a zero tolerance approach to sexual harassment. I think people are really getting on board with it, so I think it's very important.
Thank you very much. Have a very good day.
As we all know, we have the Mind Your Head week going on at Cardiff University. To talk about this, we have the Union President, Carrie Davis, with us. Carrie, so tell us more about the event.
It's basically a week-long campaign that was started last year by Megan David and Helen Dent's doing it this year, the welfare officer. The idea of the campaign is to try and break down the stigma associated with mental health and mental health issues. And this year the focus is on homesickness. 50 to 70% of students suffer from homesickness when they come to university. So there's a number of things that we're doing all week. One, to kind of get people to stop talking about the issue because it's not talked about enough, and also various workshops and things that people can attend to sort of help them, give them skills to kind of get over it themselves and things like that.
So more about, primarily focusing on homesickness. So tell me more about, what motivated you to actually focus, since you have a lot of mental health disabilities, what primarily, inspired you to focus on homesickness?
I think it's the statistic that so many students, when they come to university, suffer from homesickness, and actually, like I said, not many people talk about it. Moving away from home can be extremely stressful, and I think it's something that a lot of students will experience and have experienced, and so it kind of seems like an obvious fit. There's loads of things going on all throughout the week, so like I said, there's workshops and stuff. There was a workshop today about how to cope with homesickness and giving people tips on homesickness and what they can do to kind of make themselves feel better.
Right.
And it's also about kind of encouraging other students to look out for their flatmates and look out for their housemates and kind of give each other a helping hand as well. So if there's someone that that is suffering from homesickness, kind of giving people tips to help their friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I read your article and I must admit it was brilliantly written, and it was very inspiring to know that the union president coming out in the open about something as deep as depression. And so tell me more about your article and what motivated you to write that.
I don't know. I think the article that I wrote in the paper, it was I was thinking about it when we were talking about Mind Your Head Week, and I sort of thought, well, we talk about kind of trying to encourage people to be more open about these sorts of things and trying to reduce the stigma around mental health, and I was sort of like, well, I haven't ever really properly opened up to people about it either, so it was kind of like practicing what we're preaching by opening up myself. And I just thought maybe, especially being SU president, it might mean that more people would be encouraged to do the same and to feel able to talk about things. I know it's on a much smaller scale, but the reasons people like Stephen Fry talks about his mental illness is so that it will encourage other people to do the same, and other people to feel like it's okay for them to talk about it and for them to admit to having these issues. So I'm hoping that even if just one or two students now feel more able to talk about their issues or less restricted by their mental health issues, and then that's a really great thing.
Another question that I had was, very broadly speaking, what do you have planned in case of welfare, pertaining specifically to welfare?
Well, Helen Dent's the welfare officer, so she's got loads of plans for the year. I don't know specifically what they all are, but I know she's, as well as mental health, she's working on sexual health provision in Cardiff and at the university, because at the moment it's really shocking. She's also looking at students who aren't like your typical students, so students with caring responsibilities, students with children, that sort of thing. And it's all intrinsically linked to your educational experience as well. So she's working really closely with Ollie Wannell, who's the education officer, on issues academic issues linked to welfare issues, so things like extenuating circumstances and stuff.
Okay, thank you so much, Carrie, for coming on to our show.
Problem.
In other news, the EU body planned to introduce a legislation to prevent the use of tobacco. They plan to introduce other legislations to actually curb the selling of tobacco products by increasing the warnings on packages by 65%. Amel, our Deputy News Controller, was with her colleague in Brussels and she recorded this video for us. Have a look.
The alarming rate of young smokers has become a serious issue in the European Union. To deal with this problem, the European Commission recently proposed a ban on strong tobacco flavors and an increase of health warnings on cigarette packages. However, young people do not seem convinced by these measures.
Quand j'ai commencé à fumer, par exemple, ce que je fumais, c'était les clopes au chocolat, c'était mes toutes premières clopes, et c'était sympathique. Maintenant, je crois pas que ça changera véritablement le problème de la jeunesse qui se met à fumer sur le long terme. Je suis totalement contre cette idée parce que quand j'ai commencé à fumer, il y avait déjà ces images sur les paquets et elles me faisaient rire tellement elles étaient dégueulasses. Mais en soi, je sais très bien comment ça marche. Je sais que c'est des images qui ont été sélectionnées sur des milliers, des images. On a pris les pires cas, les gens qui se soignaient vraiment pas ou qui abusaient vraiment. Non, moi je suis contre. Je trouve déjà qu'il y en a trop au jour d'aujourd'hui.
We asked Danish high school students what they thought about these measures. Do you believe that flavors attract young people to start smoking?
Well, I don't think flavors or anything. I think it's young people who want to, be cool, and that's why they start smoking. Probably because they had another friend or parents smoke or whatever.
What do you think would be more helpful?
I don't know. Well, for me, it would be the price. If they raised it too much, I probably would quit smoking or just buy cigarettes another place. But I don't really think you can, make the choice for the smokers.
Do you think that having shocking pictures would affect young people?
Once I saw this mouth cancer, it was pretty disgusting though. But no, I don't think it will affect the young people. Not enough.
Well, they did this stop smoking campaign on the school where some people came up and did like you could blow into this thing so they could measure how much you smoked or how extensive your use was. I think that was a good idea.
Lars Torp Larsen, expert in tobacco regulation and professor at Aarhus University, thinks that these measures are not enough to reduce teen smoking.
I don't think this directive will lead young smokers to not start smoking in itself. I cannot say, of course, whether this very sort of scaring type of labeling could theoretically scare some people from smoking, but there is also the danger that it will work the other way, that it will become more cool or interesting if it sounded dangerous, which might appeal to some young people. As the studies I've seen show that one of the factors that really has an importance for young people to start smoking is the price. Regulating tobacco smoking through prices is not always that effective, but it tends to be more effective with young people because they have less money, typically. It's just not something that the member states are very willing to hand over to the European Union because it's, taxation is really at the heart of national sovereignty in a lot of countries, and it generates a lot of money. Knowledge itself does not get people to stop.
Like I said earlier, 65% of the tobacco products were actually supposed to have warnings on them. So, like you saw the video before, we asked students on our home ground, Cardiff, about what they thought on this issue. So have a look at what Cardiff students have to say.
Hey, this is Suri.
And this is Emily.
And we're reporting for CUTV.
We're asking people's opinions on the Tobacco Product Directive and what they think about the new smoking campaign. So do you think the increase in images on cigarette packets will affect you and your smoking?
Not really, no.
No?
Yeah, I could just take it out the pack and put it in my own casing.
So do you think this increase in images on cigarette boxes will stop people from smoking?
I do actually, yeah. I think people are a bit undecided maybe. We were thinking that looks pretty gruesome.
I think it can help because how a packaging looks does make a difference to teenagers and people who are younger. So I think it could definitely help. There's no harm in trying.
I don't think it will stop them entirely. I think it will just maybe helps stopping the smoke problem.
Does it put you off?
Yeah, they're pretty nasty, aren't they?
Yeah,
I don't really know what's going on in that one, but
that one's blind.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
nasty. Fair enough.
So when you started smoking, if you'd seen packets like these, would this have discouraged you to start?
No, it's peer pressure and you hang around with your friends and stuff. I suppose if the wider youth, the peer pressure might be less if less people started smoking because they'd see me, so they wouldn't be pressurising other kids into see it. But I was just a bit of a follower.
Do you think when you first started smoking, if you would see those images, you would not smoke?
I think yes. It's going to stop me if I see it. That's how I'm going to be in the future. So I'm not going to smoke.
This directive to make 65% of the cover on tobacco products of warning signs was introduced just yesterday in the EU Parliament. And of course this was done to stop young people from smoking cigarettes, prevent them to actually get started on cigarettes. So you were on the field, weren't you? So what was the general reaction that you received?
Yeah, actually some people did say that whatever from the images on the pack, we showed them stuff from Australia and other places which already have this. So when they saw the images, they said that like the images look scary, but then like one of them said that I won't look at the pack when I'm buying it. So yeah, and also some of them said that it does not look cool anymore.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people agree that that's why a lot of people, like young people, start out smoking, because they think it makes them cool. And if the pack looks really scary, it's not that cool anymore. But then what a lot of people actually said is that it has got more to do with friends and peer pressure and stuff like that actually makes people smoke. And if you think about it, if your friends smoke in spite of it being bad, in spite of the scary images, in spite of everything, and they're all your friends, then you'll think, it's not that big of a deal or anything. And the people who don't smoke, they don't do it because they already know it's bad. It does not have anything much to do with the images and the other regulations and all that stuff. So yeah, and think that according to whatever the people said, it does not look like it will make that much of a difference. But anyway, it's good that something has been done at least. So yeah.
Okay, so did with Stoptober coming in, and by the way, Stoptober is the month that we try and prevent people from starting to smoke. So with the Stoptober coming in, do you think that this directive also coming in place, would this actually get people to reduce smoking by any chance?
Okay, I don't really know much about that, but it really, the people who already smoke, it does not look like they would stop smoking because of any of this, whether it's Stoptober or the regulations or anything. And people who don't smoke, they won't do it anyway. So I don't think it will much affect it, but I'm sure this will bring about a lot of awareness and get the conversation going, and that's always a good thing.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching in. Tune in next week.